Welcome to the Random Encounter Show. I'm Deathstalker V, coming in for our weekly Table Talk. Table Talk Tuesdays in full swing around here. A little bit late today, but that's sort of the story of the channel so far, right? But we made it. We're making it, guys. This one, of course, we're script-free, impromptu, this part of the show that we do. Really, the whole show, if we're going to be honest. I mean... But especially Table Talk. Today I have a few things I know we're going to talk about, but from there I have no idea where we're going. Got some gaming stuff here I want to talk about. But first and foremost, we got to address the Random Encounter Army here, reaching out to the community. We're coming up on the time for our second annual holiday special. Yeah? If you haven't watched the first and you love this channel, I'm telling you just without a doubt, it is the greatest thing. It's the greatest episode. It's the greatest video. It's the greatest thing that we've done here. The community just shined for that video. So if you haven't checked it out, go check it out because as far as I know, there's nothing like it on similar channels here on YouTube. But with the holiday special, yeah? Last year, I have to admit, I thought I had put my foot in my mouth. Because I got on and announced the holiday special and told people, hey, send in video submissions, your holiday greetings, cards, gifts, whatever, and we'll do the holiday special. And after I put that video out, I sort of thought to myself, I was like, I wonder if anybody's going to send anything in. Maybe I put my foot in my mouth. And then, were we to 500 subscribers then? I don't think we were all the way to 500 subscribers. Maybe we were. I can't remember. Yeah? But the community showed out. What did we have? We had wrestling matches. We had Lovecraftian carols in cemeteries. We had people in airport hangars. We had hand-drawn art and stuff. The whole just episode. Fellow YouTubers joined in. Some gaming companies that I really love, they joined in. Chaos Orc, Troll Lord Games, Frog God Games, Necromancer Games. It was just spectacular. It was unbelievable. And I'm still just flabbergasted to this day that it happened. I really am. It was just amazing. It's something that I will always look back on and just be so proud of the community here and what we've done so far. So yeah, it's time to announce the second annual holiday special. We're more than double in size this year. Our community for subscribers, the Random Encounter Army. So we're just putting it out there that, hey, if you want to do a video submission, if you want to send something into the Fortress of Doom, all you have to do is either hit me up on our Facebook page, link below in the video description, also on the About page. There you can also find my email, questingtablestudio@gmail.com. It should appear here on the screen, as if by magic, because you guys are already used to my non-editing videos. Yeah. But I just look forward to it. I have no idea what to expect. If last year is any example, it's going to be something special. So, and I'm not sure how long we can keep up the format of doing this kind of stuff for the holiday specials as we grow and grow and grow. So this is, if you're part of the army, you've been a regular and stuff, this is your time to shine because that's what the holiday special is all about every year. You know, for as long as we're going to stay on YouTube and keep doing our thing, we're always going to have something for the community around the holidays. So I hope each and every one of you decide to join in. And it might be 6 hours long, but whatever it is, we will get it on the air. Yeah. I'm just remembering some of the stuff from that first one. Man, it was amazing. It was amazing. Guys, you are literally one of the big reasons I set out to make this channel was to create sort of a like-minded community that was very positive in the hobby. Instead of the pandering and the moaning and let's let's just scream about every little thing. You know, guys, we've made this about gaming. A lot of you have stayed the course, and I absolutely love it. And I absolutely love interacting with you on a weekly and regularly basis. What's going on around the Fortress of Doom? Some things that we're going to do. Well, we got the holiday special coming up. I'm doing my best to get this channel out of neutral into first gear. I tell you guys, it's on. Sometimes I think this show's ordained by God. On the other times, I think we're being cursed by the Almighty. I don't know. It's slow. It's slow. We're going to build up to it. We're going to build up to coming out of first gear, no matter what it takes. Right now, I film in our living room and stuff. One of the things is we have an extra bedroom. I want to go in there and just redo the room, lighting, paint it, do a different floor and stuff, and make that a permanent gaming room and sort of filming studio, if you will. Because it's hard using the living room because our house is like a really open floor plan. Can we speak English? Let me get something to drink here. My lips are sticking together. The house is a really open floor plan. Okay. So therefore, anytime I want to come sit down and shoot any video whatsoever, you know, pretty much we have to shut down the house for a while to do it. So, and then anything going on extra in the house is just forget filming. Forget filming in this madhouse. But we'll work with what we got, right? So we're going to continue to pound it out. I'm getting to a point in time where maybe I can pound out a little bit more. So we'll make announcements. I really don't like talking about plans and stuff until it's time to make them happen. But there's a lot going on behind the scenes for the show. And I think a lot of you will be pleasantly surprised when we get to some of those things. Now, this is a gaming channel, right? So let's talk about some gaming. A friend of the show, Steve Priest. You guys may remember Steve. He sent over some of the children's books that he wrote and illustrated earlier this year. We had him in an episode, Reynard the Bard and the King's Biscuits. If you know Steve, he's a fantastic guy, and he's a fantastic friend to have, especially a gaming friend. He has impeccable gaming taste, I'm telling you that much. Anyways, he sent us over a package to the show that I've already opened. I figured it would just be easier to open it because of all the tape and all the addresses and stuff. Steve's over in the UK, but he sent us over a group of books. The Mutant Epoch. Yeah, a game I've never heard of. Surprisingly, because it looks like a massive game. Somehow this one's completely escaped my notice. But I wanted to read the card here that he sent. And then let's take a look at this real quick. I only opened this up just last night, so I don't know a ton about this game. But I'm going to give you some first impressions and on some stuff that he said here. Let me turn on the light so we can see. Yeah, hopefully that doesn't mess with the camera so much. But he sent us a nice card over here. Hey Deathstalker V, this is such an awesome game. I wanted you to have my copies as I'm going digital and hardcover with it. It's excellent for solo play, so I thought your viewers might be interested, even if it isn't your bag, although maybe it is. Cheers, Steve. Yeah, we've got to talk about this. First off, we got to give her, let me turn this light off. It's not going to cooperate with the camera, right? Let there be light. First off, we've got to thank Steve big time. You know, what an excellent way to think of the show, that if he's going hardcover digital and he'd sent over some softcover books for us to check out. That's excellent. So a big shout out and thank you to Steve over in the UK. Now, when he was what he wrote about the game, that it's excellent for solo and stuff, that really intrigued me. The Mutant Epoch is a tabletop adventure role-playing game by William Oslin. Yeah? And I really dig the cover. Now, I like science fiction, I like fantasy, I like war gaming and stuff, but I really hadn't played a mutant game, and I know they're getting a lot more popular nowadays. Richard in the UK has a mutant game that he's running for his group. what is it, on the year zero system or something. Richard will be able to comment and let us know. I know that, what was it, Goodman Games put out alongside Dungeon Crawl Classics. Was it Mutant Crawl Classics or something? I don't know, but I'm seeing a lot more of the mutant post-apocalyptic theme pop up in gaming recently. Well, over the last several years. But just looks from the cover, outstanding artwork. On the back, the Mutant Epoch is about humankind's attempt to reclaim some semblance of civilization, calling upon its best and boldest to uncover the lost knowledge and power of the old ones. Basically, just everything terrible has happened to the planet Earth, to humankind. From aliens to nuclear disasters, you name it. And what this game is about, it's a role-playing game, so it could be about anything, but as far as its theme goes and what it's really geared toward, is that the player characters they join teams, and they go out into certain locales and such, as best as I understand, and they're looking for technology of what to them would be the ancients. You got to realize they're in a post-apocalyptic setting, so finding stuff that works and whatnot really is the deal here. What am I talking about? So there's the Society of Excavators and stuff. So it's almost like your militant archaeologists going out and sifting through the remains of the ancient civilization before you and looking for powerful artifacts and such in which to bring back and start rebuilding civilization. Now, I took a look through this game. I haven't read the rule book, not from cover to cover. I literally have just been poking through it, and I already see that when it comes to player creation, there's lots and lots of tables like these. Us solo gamers, we love to see those. And there a whole lot goes into player creation here. When it comes to combat and such, more tables and such. Nothing very heavy for that, but more tables for critical strikes and that kind of stuff. Treasure generators, all kind of stuff. I really like that this game is pretty much one core rule book is all you'll need to run the game. I like that. It very much reminds me of the RuneQuest system. What do they call that? The basic role-playing system. It's on a percentile system. From best that I see, it's on a percentile system, the D100 percentiles. And it just looks fantastic. I love the freedom and the creativity when it comes to player creation that's involved. You guys know that I'm not a huge fan of class and level systems. I got a few I like, and I enjoy playing them here and there. But I really, when it comes to solo play, I really want to have more depth than class and level systems like D&D and Pathfinder and the OSR and all this kind of stuff can offer. Like I said, I'm not against using it. I just find that more advanced systems, if you will, end up playing a deeper game for me solo. Especially when it comes to creating characters and having them interact with the world. So I really like to see that, and I really like to see all the tables in here. It looks fantastic. It looks fantastic, but I can't tell you a whole lot. I can go ahead and tell you that this is going into the backlog of games that we've got to play so we can really talk about them here. You guys keep me busy, but I'm really, really looking forward to this one from what I've seen, because it sort of meets two game styles that I really love. Role-playing games along with small-scale skirmish games. Yeah? And that's basically what you're getting here. You got your squad, you go in, you're looking for the stuff, you're digging through the stuff, you're going through combats and different skill tests and all this kind of stuff. You're grabbing the stuff and bringing it back. Yeah? That kind of stuff. Objective-based gaming, I guess you could call that. I really dig it, and I really dig it when it's combined with role-playing games. But the core rule book just looks fantastic. The artwork all the way through is just thematic. You know, here's a section on androids and robots and such, just to show you a random sampling I'm having trouble speaking tonight. Maybe it's all that food I ate for lunch. Ooh, that was a lot of food. But it's just a random sampling of artwork. And the book is stuffed full of this artwork. Fantastic, fantastic. But for solo play, I was digging the basic rule book. I really was. I said, okay, I can see this. But what I discovered when I looked through, he sent us 3 adventure books. And let's just take a look at the Mall of Doom here. Look how thick the book is. You know, this isn't your typical adventure module. This isn't a campaign setting. This is an adventure module. What are we clocking in here? At around 135 pages. Yeah? But I got to looking at this and I realized, you know, this doesn't look like any gaming module I've ever seen. This looks like something like you would expect from a choose your own adventure or something. And upon investigation, that is sort of what it is, but better. Yeah, it's a multi-path adventure module, as you can see there. In these adventures, this would definitely be super playable solo or even co-op. But each adventure is broke down into entries, which are locations within the locations, as you can see here. The entries give you a description and what's going on at that location, and it's up to you to play it out. Most all descriptions have some kind of chart on which you're going to roll up encounters, treasures, etc. So it contains the choose your own adventure style, you know, location to location style gaming, go to the next paragraph kind of thing. But it does away with the very limited choices. And instead of that, you get a map. And as your characters move through the map, you're going to look up each location in time and then see what's going on in that location and make some rolls to come to determination of what the characters see and are experiencing. I absolutely love this. I absolutely love this. I haven't seen another RPG really pull this off as well as this. It's very reminiscent of classic dungeon crawlers, for example. They've just done a massive job with each adventure module, and it covers more story-oriented adventures versus just flat-out digging through a dungeon. Crawling through a dungeon, whatever it is, I should say there. But it just does a fantastic job. So for solo playing, I could definitely see this. Like I said, we're gonna have to come back and cover this. I can't believe it's went under my radar for so long. I can't believe it. So thank you, Steve, again. I'm sure with our community, because we attract so many solo gamers, a lot of you've probably heard of this. Yeah, I live under a rock. I admit it. So always happy to see new stuff. Yeah? Now, what can we talk about? You want to talk about unpopular opinions that Deathstalker V has? That was something that came up in the last week. I don't know which one we should go with. I don't know which. I got. Apparently, I have very unpopular gaming opinions. Well, I guess I knew that, so that's why I try to keep my opinions off our videos, right? But this might be fun. We can set everybody up, get everybody excited about the holiday special coming, and then everybody can unsubscribe after Deathstalker V tells you how unpopular his gaming opinions are. I don't know. Guys, I got into it last week. Let's just go ahead and go into it. I got into it last week with someone. First, they wanted to know why I didn't cover the OGL debacle that happened earlier this year with Wizards of the Coast. Yeah? The main reason is I don't pander. I don't like pandering. I don't like getting on the hot topic for some clicks. Yeah, it's just not my style. I like us to stay more gaming oriented, and let's leave the drama of the industry where it belongs. Yeah, off our tables. But I don't mind talking about it, a year after it happened. But yeah, the main reasons I don't pander. And there's some other reasons as well. Maybe we'll get into those with some more of unpopular stuff about Deathstalker V. Uh, but I really just didn't want to get into it. And I said, the OGL debacle, I talked to Ian. Willie Muffin. If you guys aren't subscribed to his channel, look up Willie Muffin. He's in the UK. He covers gaming stuff. He has a band. They're rocking and rolling. He was on the holiday special. He opened us up with that Les Paul guitar. Yeah? I was talking to him during this whole debacle. I remember it. And we were discussing it, and I told him, it wouldn't surprise me if Wizards of the Coast pulled this off just to get some attention over to D&D, because it's, what is it? It's 5E's last year. Yeah, the new edition comes out next year. I said, watch, they'll create a lot of drama, and then they will, then they'll change course and leave the OSR, or the OGL, I should say, and say, oh, we listen to the fans, we love you, blah, 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 and people will forget all about it. I don't know how correct I was, but it seems to be pretty much it. Some haven't forgot about it. Some haven't forgot about it. But I said my opinions on it was I get both sides of the story. Yeah? I get that when 3rd edition released, year 2000, that Wizards of the Coast made the OGL in hopes that third-party publishers and independent people and stuff would start publishing material for 3rd edition Dungeons and Dragons, or just Dungeons and Dragons in general. Yeah, it was a way that you could publish your adventures and do this and do that, and it just added to their game. It just added to their brand, even in an unofficial manner. And they claimed that they never really intended for people to start creating separate clone systems of D&D and become competitors to Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah? So I sort of get that. Yeah, I really doubt that Wizards of the Coast, Hasbro, wanted OGL to become Pathfinder, wanted it to become Castles and Crusades, the OSR movement, and all the other clones out there. To the point where they were taking market shares away from Hasbro, Wizards of the Coast. I mean, in all actuality, I doubt they really wanted that outcome. But the problem lies in the fact that they waited 23 years to try to enforce it in any way. That is ridiculous. After 23 years of not caring, all of a sudden they do care. And they had, I know it was infuriating to a lot of people. Because, look, there's games out there like Troll Lord Games and Necromancer Games and a lot of great companies that have built themselves using that license. They've created their own take of Dungeons and Dragons, and it's been successful. So now, 23 years later, you're looking to try to put those companies out of business. That's not fair either. So I see both sides of the coin, but I guess it's sort of irrelevant now because it's blown over. Yeah? But that's not really where my unpopular opinions lied in this. My unpopular opinion was that for me, if I talk about the OGL, it is my personal belief that the OGL itself set game design back by at least a decade. At least a decade. And to explain what I mean, if we look at gaming before the OGL release, aka pre-year 2000, to me, the games, because everything outside of Dungeons and Dragons couldn't use the whole class and level system kind of deal and copy Dungeons and Dragons, or they would get sued by TSR. Yeah? They weren't necessarily forced, but they had to create other game engines in which to place their RPGs. And I think that period you saw a lot of, before the OGL, it was a period of a lot of innovative game mechanics. The games were more individual from each other, mechanics wise, and interesting. Take, for example, Dungeons and Dragons, basic, advanced, first edition, second edition, pre-OGL Dungeons and Dragons. They were fun. Hey, I started out with them. But for me, there were games that came out to compete with D&D that were much more advanced. I wouldn't, everything's so subjective, guys, but for me, they were just deeper, better games. Look at RuneQuest, for example. It took player creation, character creation, and everything to whole new levels, more realistic combat and such. Rollmaster came along. It was very innovative that it had a single D100 open-ended roll that ran the whole game. There wasn't a mismatch of percentage rolls and 3d6 here and a d20 here. No. The whole game was ran by a universal system mechanic. But it conquered player creation, magic, combat, every aspect that was part of role-playing. It did a much more advanced, detailed job than any edition of Dungeons and Dragons ever has. Same with RuneQuest, but you can say, look at other games like Tunnels and Trolls. In many, many, many ways, Tunnels and Trolls is more abstract and more simple than even basic D&D. But it was so unique, and the way the rule structures were so unique, and the way you approached the game was so unique, that it set it pretty far from D&D itself. Instead of being more detailed, just more abstract. We talked about this in the Choose Your Role-Playing Game System thing, where we talked about how to scale on a level of detail role-playing games. Look at Traveler, for example. Dragon Quest. There were so many games that came out, and they had similarities. They were tabletop role-playing games. A lot of them were fantasy games, okay? A lot of them dealt with you're a character in a story. So there's a lot of commonality in it, but they separated themselves by how the game was approached and how it was actually played mechanically. Yeah, I think that was much more interesting pre-OGL. OGL came around and the world went D20 crazy. It was the Clone Wars. Yeah, from the early 2000s all the way up until relatively recently, a vast majority or percentage of games being released and materials being released were either D20 style stuff, clones of D&D, like the OSR movement, Pathfinder, etc. Adventures and stuff are written for D20. Even other systems, like Traveler, for example. They made a D20 version of it. Everything just jumped on the D20 bandwagon. And we stopped seeing a lot of innovative, interesting game mechanics coming out. It was just easier to go status quo. I think one of the biggest reasons that happened was because of how 3rd edition just revitalized tabletop gaming. Yeah, there's a lot of veterans on this channel. We attract a lot of veterans. I see the statistics, the analytics from YouTube. We're all in the age range between 30 and 70. That's the dominant factor on the show. So there's a lot of veterans here. So you'll probably relate more to what I say than somebody that started after 3rd edition. But 3rd edition, right before 3rd edition, you get into the mid to late 90s. Guys, there was a lot of people that thought tabletop role-playing games were dead. Yeah, that it was just a fad. It came, that hobby. There was people that still hung on to it, just like any hobby out there, but it was definitely looked like it was drying up because of sort of the boom in the 80s and early 90s. Yeah? It seemed like everyone was going to Magic the Gathering, or why even play on the tabletop? Let's play computer games, console games, Yeah, sort of the dark age from like 95 to 99, sort of the dark age of gaming. Many game companies folded, even TSR. Yeah, that's how Wizards of the Coast ended up owning Dungeons and Dragons. That's we should do a history or something. I don't know. We got so many videos covering this stuff. But what I'm getting to, this revitalization of tabletop gaming, was third edition's release. I remember it was across the fall. What was it? One book released. Was it? I can't remember. It was odd. I think it was the Monster Manual, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe it was the Player's Handbook. It seemed odd. It released like in September of 2000. And then the other two core books, the DMG and the Player's Handbook, or whatever the order was, it released, what was it, end of October, early November. I remember it, guys. It was the single biggest event I witnessed across, I guess, the world, but especially across the United States. The fanfare, the radio commercials, the TV spots, all the magazines, the banners hanging up in the game stores. This was a huge deal. I've never seen a release of an RPG game this big. I doubt I ever will again. It was huge. It got a lot of people excited, including myself, my high school gaming group. We couldn't wait. We skipped school to get the books on opening days. Yeah. Yeah, we had reserved copies. And they sold out. They were sold out for third edition. But it was a huge deal. Third edition came out, and all of a sudden, it was on again. It brought a lot of people back to the table, and it brought even more people to the table for the first time. Yeah, I remember third edition. I remember being in high school, and all of a sudden, my friends and I, we were the only RPG gaming nerds in the whole school. All of a sudden, there's like 6 competing groups in the span of a year for third edition. I remember it. It was big. It was big. It was the first push to make D&D more mainstream. And it worked. But it just, like I said, with that revitalization and that bringing in all these new people, of course, all the companies that were still around, or at least the IP holders of some of the games and stuff, they wanted to jump on board this juggernaut that was happening. So they did. They did. And it was D20. Guys, I still have a flinch. An involuntary, I just flinch if I happen to see the D20 logo on the book. You guys remember it? We'll put it on the screen if we can find it. Better yet, hang on one second. I flinch when I see this. There it is. The white and red square label. D20 system. D20 compatible. D20 without the system. I mean, it was everywhere. Every gaming store, it was just piled sky high with D20. That started, and then the clones started. And the clones, hey, there were some great clones that came out. I love Castles and Crusades. With the OSR movement. I know a lot of you guys here, you're absolutely OSR crazy. I am too in ways, and in ways I'm not. I got into OSR. I really like Swords and Wizardry Complete. If I want to play old school D&D, to be honest, that's what I go to. Even though I have Basic, I have First Edition. Swords and Wizardry combines First Edition and Basic elements and creates a more complete but faster to play role-playing game for me. So I actually love Swords and Wizardry. But look, OSR, you have what? Swords and Wizardry, Old School Essentials, Labyrinth Lord, Basic Fantasy, Dungeon Crawl Classics. I mean, you have all these games, and they're literally all just the same game. Yeah, there's some people out there that I play Dungeon Crawl Classics, Old School Essentials, and Swords and Wizardry. I'm like, why do you need all three? When it comes to the rules and everything, I mean, yeah, Dungeon Crawl Classics and such, all of them have little things they add or take away. But essentially, it's all the same game. It's all a clone of old school D&D. Nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it. But I just never got into that I had to have a whole lot of the OSR stuff. And in fact, like I said, I had got sick of the D20 stuff. And I really don't even look at class and level systems anymore, to be honest. I still got my Castles and Crusades. I still got my Swords and Wizardry. I still love them, and I play them here to there. But mostly for group play. Yeah, but the Clone Wars. That went on after the D20 movement. That got boring to me. But luckily, in the last 10 years or so, maybe a little bit less, we've seen a resurgent of new and innovative game design. And I'm not talking that all this is a blanket. Yeah, I know that there's games out there that stuck to their guns, didn't go D20 and all this kind of stuff. But we've seen sort of here in the last 10 years a resurgence of game designs that are away from the D20 stuff. We've seen RuneQuest return. We saw Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay return and some other Games Workshop role-playing games. We've seen Tunnels and Trolls return with Deluxe Tunnels and Trolls. We've finally seen Rolemaster return with Rolemaster, what is it, Unified? RMU, United or Unified 1. Forgive me, my brain's not on. I ate too much for lunch, as I said earlier. I'm ready to go to sleep. Food coma. Getting old. But yeah. Another one is Free League Publishing. I like some of their stuff. I'm not a huge fan of the highly branded RPGs. I'm not a huge fan of it, so I don't grab a lot of their stuff. I got Forbidden Lands over there. Yeah. But they're coming with their engine that they use. It's separate than D&D, so it's getting people interested and getting away from the class and level systems. Because to me, here's your another unpopular opinion, that games like Dungeons and Dragons and Pathfinder and such are great gateway games, entry level games. They don't make great games to play for 40 years. I'm sorry, grognards, but come on. Playing basic D&D for 40 years and you're telling me you never tried RuneQuest. You never tried Rolemaster. That's crazy to me. That's crazy to me. Because there's so much better out there, especially for solo gamers. But just in general. I don't know. How many more people can we get to unsubscribe to the channel? Guys, I love basic D&D. I love old school D&D. I'm not talking too rough to you, but it's amazing to me how many people have actually played it for so long and never tried any other rule systems. To me, D&D was sort of, this is where you start. For me, at least, this is where you start. And then, for me, it was Swordbearer and Dragon Quest. I was like, wait a second. You know, these games offer a heck of a lot more when it comes to player creation. They offer a way, way better combat. Because, to me, I can't help it. When I play a class and level system, due to the abstract combat, non-realistic combat is probably pretty much the big sticking point. Other than being told how to play and what to play with a level, or not a level, a class. To me, combat breaks down, and it oftentimes, regardless of how much drama and description we put behind it, it's still mechanically, it just comes down to, it feels like here's bags of hit points or balloons of hit points throwing dice at one another. Yeah, now look, you can have exciting combat. Let's be realistic, but just mechanically, that's what it boils down to. When you look at games like Rolemaster and RuneQuest, for example, where weapons have different interactions with different things they're hitting. Different armors interact with different weapons differently. Combat is not necessarily hit points and all this kind of stuff, but instead detailed information back, you know, of what's going on in the combat. That's much more interesting and realistic to me and keeps me on my toes. You know, on D&D, you start the combat off, it doesn't take very long to figure out how safe or how dangerous the combat is. But in real life and in games that approach it more realistically, you're always on your toes, and therefore there's always a lot more excitement involved, at least for my end. Yeah? But yeah, unpopular opinions around the OGL and such things. You want to become more unpopular? How many YouTube channels and YouTubers came out during the OGL debacle with just a lot of hate for Wizards of the Coast, swore they would never cover Dungeons and Dragons again, and made a huge deal of it, that if you go to their channel right now, probably in the last 2 episodes, they were about 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah. I don't know why people can't stick to their guns. It's because they're pandering for views. I don't know. I don't like talking bad. I don't have any room to talk bad about YouTubers. But we can. Yeah, I can't stand pandering, guys. I would rather be at 1,000 subscribers and put out solid content than just be whichever way the wind blows today. Yeah, I can't stand it. Talking about YouTube, things I can't stand. You ready to get into this? Let's get into it. Let me grab some stuff. I'll be right back. All right, guys, I'm back. Now, I don't like talking bad about YouTubers and such, but I'm going to. But just know that, look, I try to be as humble as I can. I'm not a professional videographer. I'm not a professional on screen or anything. I'm just a middle-aged guy sharing his hobbies and his love for gaming. So there's a lot of people out there, they put a ton of work in their videos, a ton of work in their editing, and I admire them. Yeah, it's amazing some of the videos that I've seen and what they can do. Me, I'm lucky to know which end of the camera to point when we're videoing. And there's buttons on there, I have no clue what they do. Scared to push them. I pushed a few and I couldn't come back. Definitely not where my education lies. Definitely not where my experience lies. I'm not a fan of social media. I mean, it's surprising that I even try this YouTube thing, right? I do it for you guys. Anyways, when it comes to YouTube, though, let's talk about a big pet peeve of mine. Absolutely cannot stand it. And I've seen quite a few channels that have massive followings, at least compared to what we do, are definitely guilty of this. This pet peeve of mine, once I see it, I turn the channel off, and if I remember it, I will never look at anything they have to say again. Because despite how flashy the channel is, despite how much work goes into it, if I feel like there's dishonesty involved, I'm just done. I'm just done. Yeah? So this pet peeve is when YouTubers cover games, review games, and inform their audiences about games with their opinions on them, and they don't actually own the game. I can't stand it. I'm out. I've seen some big YouTube channels, similar channels to these, do this exact thing that we're talking about. When I started noticing it big time was when a lot of solo channels and stuff started wanting to talk about Advanced Hero Quest. Yeah, I get why people are interested in this game, because it is it's a hidden gem from Games Workshop. Yeah, they didn't give this game a chance. But the system for this game and everything about this game for solo play was just amazing. I absolutely love it. It's been a favorite of mine since sometime in the mid to late 90s when I picked it up, along with its expansion, Terror in the Dark. It's part of the Hero Quest trilogy. Hero Quest, Advanced Hero Quest, and then we have Warhammer Quest. Yeah, we've got that up on the shelves as well. A few copies of it. But this game right here, I was looking, and I noticed this thing where people were reviewing this game and they don't actually own it. I was like, what in the world? And I'll tell you what I'm talking about. They didn't own the game. They didn't even bother printing out, sort of a homemade version of the game. That's acceptable to me. But barely acceptable, I'll admit it. But instead, they were reviewing Advanced Hero Quest based on this fan-made version of the rules. This is all they had. Yeah? And while if you're familiar with role-playing games, if you're familiar with dungeon crawling games, yes, you understand the basic premise of what's going on with games like Advanced Hero Quest. So yes, you can get a pretty good idea from reading the rule book. But there's one big thing that's lacking. You have no idea how this game actually plays on the table, and you have no experience playing it. And Advanced Hero Quest is far from the only game I've seen this done with. Yeah, but case in point, Advanced Hero Quest is a good case in point. If you read the rule book, this fan-made rule book anyway, which is pretty similar to the official rule book for Advanced Hero Quest. It's got some things removed, some things modified, and some things added. Yeah, it's actually an excellent system, the Advanced Hero Quest. It's actually an excellent fan-made version of the rules. I really like it, and I actually use these to play Hero Quest. But there's one thing about Hero Quest that you're not going to get from the rules. That when you set it up on the table and you start playing it, because it has a role-playing game system to it, but it's modeled more towards miniature skirmish within the dungeon. It's Games Workshop after all, right? The game doesn't play like a typical dungeon crawler would. And what I mean by that is, for one, it's a very punishing, deadly game. Advanced Hero Quest, if you don't use sound tactics, if you don't have a sound strategy while you're in the dungeon, your game's gonna end pretty devastatingly fast. Yeah? And that's something you could never get from these rules. And look, everything is subjective when it comes to gaming. Everything. Everybody has their own individual idea about gaming. That's one of the things that makes the hobby great. We share gaming in common, but no one thinks of gaming or desires what you want in gaming other than yourself. We have our commonality, sure. But everything's subjective. But my thing here is there's no way you should be talking about and giving an opinion out and telling your audience about a game that you've never played, that you've never actually experienced. It drives me up the wall because here on this channel, we don't have a lot going for us. But honesty, integrity, and being as thorough as I can is very important to me because you're my audience. You're the Random Encounter Army. Yeah? I never want to be responsible for pandering and trying to get the dollar over being honest with you and sharing my hobby with you and making recommendations as soundly as I can. Yeah? I don't like the sellout thing. We'll get into the sellout stuff. We could get into it now. There's a lot of channels out there that everything they recommend and everything that they say is all geared toward maximum corporate viability or market viability. Either they're making money off of sponsorships or hidden sponsorships, things that they can sell, whatever. Look, it's all great. We got to generate money. I use the affiliate link system. We're probably going to go to subscriptions soon after the first of the year for a few things and such. We talked about that before. But so yeah, because I'm trying to get this thing launched off for I can do it full time. But yeah, so making money is not the issue here. But when everything you do is geared toward making money, it's very hard to be as honest as possible. And it's very hard for a lot of YouTubers who are selling, making money off affiliate links and sponsorships and such, to really talk about old games and such that's not going to make them any money whatsoever talking about them. Yeah? I don't know. That's just rambling on. I just see that. I don't like pandering. Another thing I see is when we get to role-playing games, is just like Advanced Hero Quest is a board game, there's a lot of people putting out information, especially in the solo sphere of things. But just across in general, they're reviewing games that become readily apparent to me anyways because I'm familiar with whatever game they're talking about, that this person really doesn't know what they're talking about. It doesn't even seem like they did a good skim over of the rules before they got on and started pushing out their opinion. And I don't know if a lot of YouTubers realize it or not, but, anytime you put a video out and information out, you're influencing people. Yeah? Maybe you're influencing people to something they would love. Maybe you're influencing people away from something that they would hate or love. Who knows? That's why I'm very careful about how we talk about games and what I say about games on here because, look, I've got the affiliate links. I can see if I talk about a game and I give out the points and say, hey, I really like this game, check it out. You guys use the affiliate links and buy it. It shows me, the drive-thru thing shows me what people are purchasing using the links. Absolutely love it. But I feel really responsible, you know, that if I get on and there's this game and I barely do any research on it and all that, and I get on there and it's the greatest thing ever, you guys have got to check it out, bah, 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 bah. And it turns out that it was a terrible game. It was poorly written, whatever. I hadn't taken my time to actually read, play, and experience the game. That would be my responsibility. That would be on me, my fault. At least that's the way I feel. That's why when we talk about games, I tell you the reasons why I do like parts of the games. I tell you the reasons why I don't like things. I try to, even though it's very subjective what we like and don't like, I try to give you guys every side of it that I can think of to give you, and give you the personal reasons for me of why I like the game. And I think we've done a good job. Yeah, as far as I know, we've only had, it really wasn't a complaint, but we had one person over on the Facebook group who didn't like the treasure hunter game I recommended. And I was like, oh no. But I really read what he was talking about, and I sort of got, I said, that's really not my fault, basically. What I covered there, when I talked about, one of the things I think that he didn't like was that it was wasn't a dice pool system. Yeah, but I never said it was, and I made it clear that there was lots of dice to roll and such. I don't know, guys. Where am I going with this? Things like that stick out to me. Even if it really wasn't my fault so much, that's how I feel about my audience. That honesty is the key. That, hey, if I do something and I make a mistake, it's up to me to correct it as quickly as possible. Thank God we haven't had any major mistakes so far. This video may be one. Anyways, guys, when it comes to people reviewing role-playing games and stuff, I have a litmus test. I really do. That if I see somebody that looks interesting, their channel looks interesting, that I want to hear what they're talking about. One of the first things I'll do is see if they have done a review on Rolemaster, Harp, Cyberspace, Space Master, any of the MERP, any of the Iron Crown Enterprise RPGs from the past. This is my litmus test, because I'm here to tell you that I'm a massive Rolemaster fan. I have been. I absolutely love this game. And the other Iron Crown Enterprises games. I'm not making recommendations. We're going to be talking a whole lot about Rolemaster soon. Then you can sort of think about it. We're just talking about my litmus test. But I'm familiar with the game. I understand the game. And I love the game. And I hate to tell you that when I look at my litmus test, channels that do cover these type games, these Iron Crown Enterprise games, that there's pretty much I would guess liberally, there's a 90%. I would feel 90% is pretty good. 90% failure rate. Yeah? That when people get to talking about Rolemaster, Space Master, and such games, because they have so much detail, because there's so much to them, there's a lot of people who may have skimmed through the rule book a little bit, may have not, but the vast majority just repeat what other people have said about this games, and 9 times out of 10, the information is not good. Yeah? The information is not good about this game. Try my litmus test out. If you're familiar with Harp, if you're familiar with Rolemaster, or any of these games, go check out what channel, go check out YouTube videos on them, and it's really astounded me of just how wrong people get this game. Just how wrong people get it. It's literally, it's amazing. Yeah? I've seen people hold up this second edition box set. Yeah? And they have just spewed off over an hour's worth of information that everything about what they said was just totally wrong. Even to the point that they said that they didn't even know what edition this was. Yeah, they were claiming this was first edition. I don't know, guys. Look, everybody has their way of doing things and stuff. I just feel like there should be some modicum of honesty. If I don't know something, I tell you. Just like the Mutant Epoch. I know absolutely nothing about this game other than skimming through it. I like what I've seen so far, but that's why we're putting it off until I've played it and I know more about it. Yeah, I don't know. Are we ranting or what are we doing here? This 57 minutes in. It'll be shorter because I'm going to edit out the back and forth stuff. I don't know, guys. This has been a wild episode. I don't know where we're going. So yeah, if anybody's left, again, the holiday special, that's the hot news around here. That's the hot news. I hope everybody that can get involved will get involved. It's just, like I said, that first one was so magical. I'm going to look back at that later on in life. Maybe I'm in a nursing home or something. And if I can find some people around me that don't have dementia, I'll say, look at this. One time I did this. Yeah, look at all these people. I did this. This is what the Random Encounter Army did one time. Yeah, hopefully we'll have a second one to show them. I don't know, guys. I don't know. I hope you guys are having some fun gaming out there. Keep those dice rolling. Keep those dice hot. And I'll see you guys maybe before next week if I can pull it out. We're just gonna start the deep delve into Castles and Crusades. Far as the plans I had with that, if they get met or if they don't get met, damn the torpedoes, full speed ahead. I'll see you guys next time here on the Random Encounter Show. Hey, this is Deathstalker V. I wanted to thank you for watching the Random Encounter Show. If you love tabletop gaming, solo RPGing, or classic video games, make sure you're subscribed to our channel. If you want more of the show, head over to our channel's About page. There you will find our Facebook and Facebook group pages where you can join in on the fun. Want to help support the show? Make sure to use our affiliate and sponsor links next time you're shopping for your favorite gaming products. Anyways, I'll see you guys next time when we roll for Random Encounter.